I'm Rob Paulson.
I'm Ryan Serhant.
Hey everyone, I'm Nicole Palizzi.
Hey everybody's Kevin Nealon.
What's up guys, it's Nia Sue and it's time to take the quiz.
5 questions in less than 5 minutes every day. Listen and follow at thequiz.fox.
Summer's made for road trips, lake weekends, and getting out of town. And Hurl Chevrolet GMC has the ride to get you there. Drive a new 26 GMC Terrain with $1,750 in total customer cash when you finance with GM Financial. Or take home a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 Elevation with $7,000 in purchase allowances with eligible trade-in or 1.9% for 60 months. Plus, save $1,000 in the 26 Sierra 2500. Adventure starts at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Online at hurlchev.com. GMC, professional grade.
Here's a bright idea. Make sure you put your pants on before leaving the house. Sure, it seems simple, but sometimes simple doesn't happen. At IdeaTech, we think it's simple to have real people who live in Kansas helping customers. We understand that not everyone in our industry agrees. Then again, not everyone puts on pants before they leave the house. We think it's important to get the simple things right. Putting our pants on and providing local customer service. Another bright idea from IdeaTech.
It's simple. Get IdeaTech fiber internet at ideatech.com.
With NWKS Radio News, I'm Lucas Kenny. The Kansas Department of Transportation announced approved bids for state highway construction and maintenance projects. The letting for these took place on July 22nd in Topeka. Some of the local county projects include one in Cheyenne in the amount of $315,043.30, one in Logan County in the amount of $7,569,849.32, and one in Smith County in the amount of $2,926,555.65. In other news, the Kansas State Department of Education has received approval from the U.S. Department of Education to pilot a new approach to statewide assessment and accountability through the Innovative Assessment Demonstration Authority. The KSDE will begin implementing the Kansas through-year curriculum-directed assessment during the 2026-2027 school year. So for more information, visit nwksradio.net.
Today will be another cooler day with morning clouds and patchy fog, clearing in the afternoon some. Highs will be in the upper 70s around 80 with light southeast winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Could see some scattered elevated thunderstorms later this evening and overnight, mainly south of I-70. Otherwise, skies will clear and lows will drop to 62. Tomorrow will be mostly sunny and warmer with south-southeasterly winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour. High around 94. Isolated afternoon or early evening thunderstorms are possible, mainly east of Highway 83. Overnight will be clear with a low of 66. Friday will be mostly sunny, getting hot. Highs will climb into the upper 90s to near 100 as an upper level ridge will build in from the west, setting the stage for a weekend of triple-digit heat, where highs will be around 105 with elevated fire weather conditions. Overnight lows will be around 68. This is meteorologist Chris Schromick in the NWKS Radio Weather Center.
Your business was built right here, so was ours. At FNB Bank, we are not run from some distant city. We are run by neighbors, for neighbors. We know what matters to you because it matters to us too. From local decisions to face-to-face service, we are here. Bank local, grow local, stay local. FNB Bank, member FDIC.
Looking for insurance that actually puts you first? At the insurance agency in downtown Goodland, we're independent, which means we work for you. Whether it's auto, home, crop, or business, we shop top carriers to get you the best coverage at the best price. No pushy sales, just honest advice from people who live right here in your community. Give us a call today at 785-899-5011 or stop by 1020 Main in Goodland and let's get you covered. The Insurance Agency. Insurance the way it should be.
Where do the best memories happen? Not in the living room. They happen out back. Build the perfect backyard with patio furniture, fire pits, grills, and smokers from Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Then tackle that fence, new roof, or weekend building project with the quality lumber and materials you trust. Keep the grass green and work easy with Ultimate All-Season Lawn Fertilizer and Eco Cordless Power Outdoor Equipment. This summer, don't just stay home, make home the place everyone wants to be. With the help of Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware with locations in Goodland and Colby.
You ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4! It's time for the Morning Blitz with Ross Volkmer and Garrett Wellbrock.
Who's got it better than us? Nobody!
The High Plains only local sports talk show. Broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 KLOE and video streaming on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Discussing it all from the preps to the pros.
Caglione hits it high in the air, deep center field. Dunn springs back at the fence. It's gone! A 2-run blast for Jack Caglione.
The Blitz is presented by Hurl Chevrolet GMC, Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware, and F&B Bank, along with
IdeaTech Fiber Internet, Topside Portables and Pumping, The Insurance Agency, Pest Away, and Equity Bank of Hoxie, Quinner, and Grinnell.
Let's go to work. And that's down the line past Lee. Bobby Witt Jr.'s 3 for 3 in his return from the injured list. He drives in Isbell. Here comes Jensen. 2 on the board for the Royals.
Swinging a drive. That one sucked high and deep. It's going to go into the monster seats for a grand slam.
0-2. Hit in the air. Deep left field. Torres back. George Lombard Jr. has entered the yard and left it. His first big league hit, his first big league homer.
The hitters count the pitch, and he got the pitch he was looking for. Deep to right field, just shy of the second deck. Mickey Moniak ties up the game in the bottom of the third, his 19th home run of the year. It's 5-5. Our Rockies answer right back.
And good Wednesday morning, everybody. Happy hump day to you. Ross Volkmer, Garrett Wellbrock with you once again here on the Morning Blitz, broadcasting live on Goodland's Rocket 102.5 KLOE and BKSradio.net, the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Morning, Garrett.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Doing well. Doing well. Yourself?
Yep, doing pretty solid today.
Doing solid today. Hope everyone else is doing well out there. We've got lots to get to on today's program. We're going to be talking some NFL quarterbacks today. The Athletic released their tiers, their 4 tiers of NFL quarterbacks. I got some thoughts on some guys, particularly at the bottom of the tier list. We'll get to that coming up here in our first segment. Been a long time since we've had him on, but look forward to it. Has he been on with us with you? That would be helpful. It's been a long time. Nick Athen of Chiefs Blitz, he's been on one time with us, correct?
Yes, he was on when I was still back in Hayes doing it virtually.
That sounds about right. I was going to say he hasn't been since you've been to Colby. I know that for a fact, but he will be joining us coming up. He usually joins us weekly on Mondays when the NFL season gets going as kind of a recap of the NFL and stuff. So we have some fun with Nick Athen on Mondays, but he'll join us today on this Wednesday as we talk Chiefs training camp. We may touch on some of his beloved Royals who stink it up, but won last night, though, 8-2, by the way. Rockies with a loss to the Rays last night in extras, but the Royals with a convincing win. Bobby Witt Jr. was back, as you heard. Sounded good, coming off that slight back injury. Maybe Bobby was just you ever think guys just like, my back hurts. I think I need a week off here. Take a week here. Get better,
Well, when you're that
62 games.
Yeah, when you're that far out of contention, I don't see why not. Doesn't hurt anybody.
Why not? Sometimes I wonder about just kind of the things behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes just kind of wish I had the insiders. I wish I just kind of knew the insider scoop stuff.
Yeah,
kind of what I wish.
I was watching the Royals game a little bit yesterday, and Eric Hosmer was the color commentator, and he was saying how, like, before the game when Bobby Witt Jr., he was like just so antsy, like, a kid on Christmas morning, just like wanting to get out there so bad, getting ready back to playing, because of course he's been out for a little bit of time, and I mean, obviously made an impact right away for Kansas City.
They got to be grooming him to replace Rex Hudler, don't they? I would think so.
Yeah, I would say so. They've used him and another guy. I think was it Mike Sweeney? I think
that could be,
or Ryan Sweeney, one of the Sweeneys. Like, I don't remember who it is, which one of them, but he's been doing color as well for the TV side of things. I imagine Hudler's probably on his way out, probably retiring here soon.
Hud's great. Don't get me wrong; he's wonderful, and I love his whatever you want to call it, his antics, his broadcast style. It's great. It's entertaining, in a long baseball season.
Yep.
But like you said, he's getting a little bit older. He might be thinking he wants to hang it up, and so you need younger guys to get in there. And like I said, I feel like they're grooming Eric Hosmer for that role. If he doesn't take a spot like on Sunday Night Baseball or something like that, they kind of do things different on Sunday Night Baseball, but you never know. They could do something along those lines. So anyway, Let's see here. So we have all that coming up today. Oh, and also the college football the college football coaches poll is out. Our first rankings. And now, of course, I'm going to get on my soapbox about the coaches and preseason polls, as I do every year, because I like to do that. So we'll get to all that coming up in today's show. As always, if you'd like to be a part of the program, the FNB Bank text line is open and operational, 785-899-2222. If you'd like to be part of the show, if you'd like to give some thoughts, some comments, opinions, if you have questions, maybe a topic or two, throw it out there. We'll see what we can do with it here on this edition of the Morning Blitz. Are you ready for golf tonight?
Oh, I think so. I
Okay.
think so. I think I'll be ready.
Garrett texted me yesterday. He's like, "Hey, you want to go? Can you go play golf?" I'm like, "I'm sorry, I've got stuff to do with the fair, so I can't be there. I apologize." But
Yeah.
but no, I hope you're ready to go today, and hopefully it should be no severe weather. Knock on wood for you to have to get away and cover. It's looking pretty
That's no
clean
kidding.
weather-wise. Yeah, weather-wise, once again. But I went to the fair last night, and it's so weird. Monday it was 103. Here in Goodland, I saw it was 103 degrees during the afternoon, obviously, but it was a warm Monday. Yesterday night, we were there until almost 9 o'clock, and we were out there. Some people out there in sweatshirts and jeans. I was out there with a sweatshirt and shorts, but you had to wear long sleeves because it was like 65 degrees out at the nighttime. It was cool. What a drastic jump. I mean, it was almost a 40-degree difference. Almost a 40-degree difference. From one day to the next.
And I hope it's like that tonight at golf, because I could use, a nice cool night and not, sweat so much out on the course as it has been in the past.
I think you're going to see some cooler temperatures. I mean, temps expected to get down to the mid-50s late tonight, so I think you are going to have some cool temperatures today.
Yeah, that's good. I think we're still looking for our third. I could be wrong there. I know Chad was going to be the guy to figure that one out, since Lucas can't either. So.
Yeah, Lucas has got baby stuff, I'm guessing, going on.
Yep. A little more important, I would say.
Oh, I would say way more important for sure. Today we've got highs in the mid-50s. For those who want to know, that wind's going to remain out of the northeast, but light. Shifting to the afternoon, there is a 20% chance of storms tonight, but I don't think we're going to see very much. Temperatures will get down to the mid-50s tonight, so a cool night tonight. And then we'll get back to those typical temperatures we have been seeing as of late. Temperatures in the low to upper 90s on Thursday and Friday, and then triple digits on Saturday and Sunday to wrap up. I guess Sunday starts a new week, but warmer temperatures, more warmer temperatures coming up here in the weekend. So anyway, let's get going here on the Morning Blitz. Once again, EpiBank text line open, 785-899-2222. Our first segment, of course, sponsored by R&R Custom Building, Mike and Dax Reese. Make sure your home's protected from the weather. If it strikes again, they've got a great gutter machine and 20 different gutter color options, plus great experience to make sure your home looks its best and keep it protected. So R&R Custom Building, you want to contact them today, 785-821-1432. And they're also doing a promotion if you're a fan of a Goodland High School program. They are giving $1 back per foot installed to a GHS program of your choice. So you can upgrade your gutters and help the Cowboys and Cowgirls at the same time. So call Mike or Dax today at R&R Custom Building, 785-821-1432, 785-821-1432. R&R Custom Building, our sponsor of segment number 1 here on the Morning Blitz. And segment 1 is going to take us to the NFL today. We'll talk a lot of NFL today, which is fine because I believe we got NFL preseason football tomorrow. I think it is. I think the Hall of Fame game is tomorrow. I'll double check that.
I did have a memory come up on my phone that it was a 4-year ago thing, and something about the Hall of Fame game. So it's coming up.
It is tomorrow. The Hall of Fame game is tomorrow. A real barn burner between Carolina and Arizona. I saw that Carson Beck, the quarterback selection for the Cardinals, will get the start in the first game. Which, once again, it's the Hall of Fame game. None of the real players really play.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's just one of those things. See what your rookie can do for a drive. I think Brissett will win that job for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, with the NFL season upon us, at least the preseason upon us, the Athletic continues to throw things out there from time to time, as do other news sources talking about the NFL and giving their thoughts. And we talked, I think, last week about just kind of the top 100 players. Then we kind of go through that. We were talking about Lamar Jackson at one point in time. And so the Athletic, I saw, put out an article about their quarterback tiers, ranking the quarterbacks here ahead of the 2026 season. And so it was very interesting to kind of see they do it every single year, and so they kind of draw from what they had last year to compare it to this year, who moved down, who moved up. And so it was interesting to talk about the tiers of quarterbacks and some of the guys who were not in the tier at all because they were rookies and now are into their second year, ahead of their second year, I should say. So I'm sure you got a chance to check out their rankings of tiers. Patrick Mahomes sits in the first tier of this. You'll also see Josh Allen and Matthew Stafford and Joe Burrow are all in tier number 1. Those are your top 4 quarterbacks. They have Stafford and Allen tied for second with Mahomes at number 1. And then you've got Joe Burrow sitting there at number 4. That's tier number 1, and then it kind of goes down from there. What were some of your thoughts looking at these tiers put out by The Athletic? What stood out to you?
Well, I think obviously that tier 1 stood out to me the most because it made one thing obvious to me that kind of the league has a really true top 4 in those 4 guys you mentioned in Mahomes, Allen, Stafford, and Burrow, because they pulled 191 of 200 tier 1 votes. And, nobody really outside that group even really sniffed that level. So, and I kind of agree with it. I think that's a really good top 4. I mean, maybe you could say Burrow and Lamar Jackson could maybe flip-flop, but I don't have a problem with Burrow being in that first tier whatsoever. But that's just as clear as a top 4 I think we've ever seen. There's a ton in group 2. And that's another thing I wanted to mention, how just crazy it gets after the top 4, because you talk about Lamar Jackson being at number 5 in that tier 2 list. You got Caleb Williams, who rocketed up from last year, because apparently this has been like a 13-year list that they've had, but they've been doing this thing. Drake May as well in that tier 2, Justin Herbert, some of those guys. So this is the biggest tier 2 that they've seen in the 13-year history. So I think that this just kind of shows that you got your top 4 quarterbacks in the NFL, and then it's a lot of just unstable guys in a way. I mean, I don't know if that tier 2, if any of those players you feel can really go out and win a Super Bowl on their own necessarily with no help around them compared to some of those tier 1 guys. But that's just some of the takeaways I got from this list is how wild that tier 2 is and tier 1 with the monsters in the top 4.
I think, once again, everything is about. I think Patrick Mahomes sitting there at number 1 deserves to be there until proven otherwise. I know that he is coming off of an injury and a pretty substantial one at that. I'm just so fascinated to see what he's like after this type of injury. He has had some other injuries, which I don't know. Would you consider them minor? I guess I would consider them in the grand scheme of things somewhat minor.
Yeah.
Nothing drastic like what he's had to have this year with a torn ACL and fixing up his knee. That's pretty big. And be fascinated to see how he plays with this injury. And once again, he's either at the top or he's on maybe the way down on the, the trajectory of his career. I don't know if that's the right way to put that. If it's a hill, and he's going up as a rookie and then you're at the plateau, you're at the top, which is where he has been. And you kind of make you wonder if he's going to start kind of coming back down to earth a little bit here in the next year or two, particularly with this injury. We'll see about that. But I think Mahomes has to be up there at number 1. I don't know if I'd even tie Josh Allen. I think I'm impressed with Matthew Stafford with where he is, considering how much of I would consider him an older guy as well in the league.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure he's 37, 38. He might be 39. I think he's 37 or 38. I think he's around my age. But Matthew Stafford is up pretty high, I think, and just the longevity of his career has impressed me. And I think he's actually maybe even gotten better with age. And I think the reason why he has gotten better with age is because he has more around him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's in a system with a coach and players around him that has helped propel him up there into that upper tier. I don't know if he would be if you put some of these guys in better positions with better talent around them, where would they move up to tier number 1? That's what I always think. Because football, to me, yeah, you're a great quarterback, but you got to have pieces around you to move up this. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, for sure. I was reading some of those, as you can see in the video stream right now with Patrick Mahomes. I have a little quote there, and it says, "I still think he's a 1, but this year will show." And there was quotes for obviously every quarterback. And yeah, and the tier 2 was kind of a lot like that. Like, what would they do with help, or even when some of these players have had help and they haven't performed? I think, for example, like Lamar Jackson, if he doesn't play well, they don't win games, was a quote. Justin Herbert in there. He should have had more accolades at this point. Some of those guys, it'll be interesting to see as this season plays out what those tier 2 players can do. Because, I mean, you see a lot of those tier 2 guys in the playoffs last season, or at least prior to last season. And those guys aren't too far off from possibly making a run and getting to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, like I said, I just sometimes I look at them like some of these guys, they do a lot with less. And so what would they do if they had a little bit more? You know, would they be up in tier number 1? Is there anyone in tier, like I guess you said Lamar Jackson is the only one that you'd say that's in tier 2 that you would possibly put in tier number 1?
Yeah, I would just say him, because when you look at this, he's the only guy with the big accolades, and he's got 2-time MVP that really not many players in the NFL can say. In fact, I think Mahomes might be the only guy you can say, to just off the top of my head, that is a 2-time MVP to put into that list. And I mean, he's still in his prime, I would say. You know, maybe Lamar Jackson on the same kind of trajectory you were saying Mahomes is, maybe on the down slope, but he's the only guy, in my opinion, that would have any type of shot to make the tier 1. And he was in the tier 1 last year, so he did make a drop into 2.
I was just looking. I was going to continue to look at this list, see if there's any guy in the second spot that can move up to tier number 1. I don't know. I think they're all about in the right spot for the most part. Because once again, as Lucas said here on the text line, 785-899-2222, Stafford can at least get it done in the playoffs. That's more important, in my opinion. Allen is a regular season merchant. Which, hey, you got to win in the regular season to get in the playoffs. So just remember that. You got to win in the regular season to get in the playoffs. Bo Nix, by the way, comes in at number 18. He's in tier 3, which he is the top of tier number 3. Is this just because you think this is just because there is not enough information yet? We need more input. We need more data before he can possibly move up into tier number 2. Or has he done enough to be a tier 2 quarterback?
I think he's done enough to be a tier 2 quarterback, in my opinion. I mean, I know being a Chiefs fan, it is hard for me to say that, but no, Bo Nix absolutely deserves to be in tier 2. I mean, you look at guys like Jaden Daniels, who's in tier 2, and he's in the middle of tier 2. Daniels didn't even play at all last year. He had one good rookie season. Why should he be in tier 2, but Bo Nix isn't? Bo Nix, in his 2 years of starting, has made the playoffs in both and was the 1 seed a year ago. I think you got to give him credit for the wins. I know he's had a lot around him, especially on the other side of the ball, on the defensive end, but I think wins are wins still, and you got to give Bo Nix his flowers a little bit there and put him in tier 2. I think there's enough guys in tier 2 that, to me, kind of like, if you're going to be in tier 2, why should Bo Nix be in tier 3? I mean, Trevor Lawrence is another example. Jordan Love, both of those guys. What have really they done outside of make the playoffs a couple of times that Bo Nix is pretty much the same exact resume as those couple of quarterbacks?
I mean, would you say Drake May and Bo Nix are in the same boat, besides the fact that Drake May has played in the Super Bowl?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Drake May, he didn't really do. Yeah, he didn't really do much last year in my eyes. I mean, yeah, they won games. They made it to the Super Bowl. They also had the easiest schedule in the NFL and didn't even have to play Bo Nix in the AFC Championship game. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's a shock to see Drake May at number 8 on this list.
Yeah, he's tied for 8th with Jared Goff, according to this NFL quarterback tiers. Once again, this is how 50 executives and coaches rank 35 veteran quarterbacks in the league. And in tier 2, you've got Drake May there at 8. I don't know. I think Bo Nix kind of he needs to be up a little bit higher, personally. Probably got thrown down a little bit. There are some guys, that tier 3 is where I find some questions. Tier 3 and 4, I find some guys who I feel like need to be moved up. I'll be fascinated to see what C.J. Stroud does this year. I think C.J. Stroud is a very talented quarterback for the Houston Texans. He did have a little bit of a step back, I feel like, last season. But I feel like he's a good quarterback, and I feel like he can do some really good things. I don't know, C.J. Stroud possibly could be a guy that could be tier 2, but I'm fine with him where he is. Daniel Jones, my gosh, he probably would be a tier 2 guy if he hadn't gotten hurt last season with the way he was playing. He would have jumped up for sure. Kyler Murray at number 23 really fascinates me because that is a guy who I feel like has had to do more with chicken you-know-what than a lot of quarterbacks. I mean, good Lord. That guy was running for his life. They had one weapon for him in Marvin Harrison Jr., who really hasn't panned out. They really haven't ever given him much to work with there at Arizona, and yet somehow, some way, he's the guy who's kind of the scapegoat and gets let go. I think Kyler Murray, I've always been a fan of him because I feel like he has to do way more with way less, and I feel like that's a guy who certainly could move up higher in tier number 3.
Yeah, I think
he will because he's going to have way more. Think about the stuff he's going to work with at Minnesota this year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he beats out McCarthy, which I'm assuming he will, he's got way more pieces to work with at Minnesota than he ever had at Arizona.
I've been a huge fan of his game too. I love the way, even when he was at OU, just, short quarterback running around, throwing bombs. It's pretty fun to watch. And I mean, I think we saw, when he had a wide receiver one in DeAndre Hopkins back in Arizona around like the COVID years, they made the playoffs. It seemed like a couple of times with Kyler Murray under the helm. So I think he can have a lot of success in Minnesota. Of course, Kevin O'Connell, the quarterback's guru coach, of the entire NFL. I think he could get him right. I hope he wins the job because I think we've seen what J.J. McCarthy can do, and I don't think it's as nearly what Kyler Murray can do with that offense. So, yeah, I agree with you on that one. I think it'll be fun to watch.
I don't know. Kyler Murray down there at 23 just seems really low, but, I understand it. But there's one that really has me really riled up more than any of them. It's Jacoby Brissett at 33. Why is Jacoby Brissett at 33? Why? We just went through his numbers when he got paid here a couple weeks ago. That guy throws way more touchdowns than picks. He protects the ball. Yeah, he doesn't win because he plays on crappy teams. But, man, wherever he goes, he puts together some pretty good numbers. 33? Below Michael Penix and a guy who hasn't hardly played for a couple of years in Deshaun Watson? Please. At least move him up to the top of tier 4. He's got to be more experienced than Malik Willis. What is this?
Yeah, a guy who I think could probably be in the third tier here is Brock Purdy, who's in tier 2. It's kind of a simple way.
11th.
It's kind of what you're saying about having help and guys that have done it with no help.
Stuff.
Oh my gosh, he's had a super team of weapons, in his time in San Francisco, and I know they made the Super Bowl a couple years ago, but there's been a lot of downside too in the Brock Purdy era. I would see him maybe in the Bo Nix spot, maybe right outside the tier 2 into the tier 3 range. But yeah, it's just, you look at this list, it's the tier 2 is so odd to me because obviously there are guys I think belong in the tier 2 list, Dak Prescott, Justin Herbert, those guys. But yeah, the Drake Mays of the world seem a little high in my eyes.
Is Trevor Lawrence a tier 2 guy?
He's even a tier 3 I could see. It's just simple as I think Bo Nix is better than Trevor Lawrence. I don't think Lawrence has done enough. He's had he had a decent year last year, but he's had some real bad years too. And I'm not going to say Jacksonville hasn't had any help. He's had Brian Thomas there for several seasons. Now Travis Hunter. You've had some weapons around you.
I have to laugh. Lucas goes with talking about Jacoby Brissett. Think about it. He's 33. He's not even in the top 32. There's 32 teams. He's behind a backup somewhere in there. Good Lord.
And it's dead last on this list too. Dead last on the list. Shadur Sanders.
I'm okay, and I know that's going to hurt Lucas's feelings and maybe Officer Jared's feelings, which is fine. He hasn't done anything to prove it, so I'm okay with this. J.J. McCarthy's down there second to last. Those guys are pretty much in a heaping pile. But Malik Willis at 29 is the top of tier 4. He hasn't really done any. He hasn't been a consistent starter yet. Done anything?
No.
He hasn't proved anything. How is he better than Jacoby Brissett, for an example?
Yeah, I don't know. They have Deshaun Watson here at 31, too, above Jacoby Brissett, above Michael Penix.
Golly, yeah, he should be down
Shadur.
to Shadur.
I think Shadur should be the starting quarterback in Cleveland because, I think he has the highest upside out of any of those players. We already know what Deshaun Watson can do. And so I think by the end of the season, we could see a little fluctuation there in that tier 4 list.
Yeah, well, we'll see. It's an interesting discussion to look at these quarterback tiers from The Athletic. Interesting to see. Once again, Patrick Mahomes sitting at number 1. Not a shocker there. Bo Nix sitting at 18. Of course, our great listener Michael says, no respect. League bout to find out. That's what he says. Steve says, being number 33 means he's the best backup quarterback in the league, going back to Jacoby Brissett, which he might be the best backup quarterback in the league, but he's a starter now. I believe, for the Cardinals, unless Carson Beck, I guess, wins the job, which I guess is a possibility. But I don't know. It's fun to look at these things and see where people stand. And it's always hard to judge. Are you basing it upon what we know to this point? Are you basing it upon how we think at the end of this season it's going to look? That's kind of the thing. And I think sometimes both lines kind of get crossed. Like, you're like, well, I know Mahomes is the best based upon what, and the tier 1 guys we know because of what we've seen. But then you get guys like Malik Willis. Well, we haven't really seen them, but we think they're going to be a top 30 quarterback. You got to stick to the parameters in some sort of way. Anyway, we got to get to a break. 7:32 Mountain, 8:32 Central Time here on a cool start to a Wednesday. 56 degrees out here on the high plains. We'll take a break. Our good friend Nick Athen from ChiefsBlitz.com will join us next. That is coming up here on the Morning Blitz.
Summer's made for road trips, lake weekends, and getting out of town. And Hurl Chevrolet GMC has the ride to get you there. Drive a new 26 GMC Terrain with $1,750 in total customer cash when you finance with GM Financial. Or take home a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 Elevation with $7,000 in purchase allowances with eligible trade-in or 1.9% for 60 months. Plus, save $1,000 in the 26 Sierra 2500. Adventure starts at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Online at hurlchev.com. GMC, professional grade.
It's time for a check of the markets with the Anderson Trade Group on the Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio Network.
Good morning, this is Kate Thompson with Skyland Grain. Today is Tuesday, August 4th. Grains weaker on the overnights. September corn lower 3.5 at 4.46 1/4. December down 4 cents at 4.69. September soybeans down 12 cents at 11.62. November down 13 at 11.79 1/4. Kansas City wheat, the September contract lower 7.5 at 7.09 3/4. December hard red wheat down 7.5 at 7.26 1/2. Chicago wheat, the September contract lower 9 cents at 6.42 1/2. December down 8.5 at 6.61. On the livestock side of things, August live cattle down 17 cents at 231.40. August feeders up 70 cents at 348.30. August lean hogs down $1.12 at $97.65. On the stock market this morning, the Dow up $624 at 53,958. The S&P up 24 at 7,652. The Nasdaq up 318 at 29,210. Gold higher $36 an ounce at 4,126. Crude oil down $2.87 a barrel at $77.47. If you have any questions about marketing grain or would like to talk about risk management options, give our Colorado office a call. John Hankey or John Stiles at 970-744-4484. In our Kansas City office, Tyler Ghosh, Tom Sluto, or Jared Law at 913-748-3000. Or our Ulysses, Kansas office, Cindy Warner, Austin Wright, or myself, Kate Thompson, at 620-471-0726.
The Anderson Trade Group, proud market partners with Kansas Farm and Ranch Radio. Find out more at andersongrain.com. The risk of loss through trading futures and or options is substantial, and each investor or trader must consider whether this is a suitable investment. Past performance, whether actual or indicated, is not indicative of future results. The Anderson Trade Group has no guarantee that the advice given will result in profitable trades.
Pests can take a big bite out of your bottom line before your wheat finds its feet. So get the Emergence Assurance of Lumavia CPL insecticide seed treatment. From roots to shoots, it offers the best defense against armyworm. When it comes to your wheat crops, don't just hope for a strong stand. Guard their growth with Lumavia CPL. Visit corteva.us/win early.
For 25 years, meteorologist Chris Schreimick has helped you decide whether to spray, mow, or move cattle. And now with Weather Valet, he can do that for you personally every morning, delivered straight to your phone or email. Starting at just $30 a month, you'll receive forecasts written by a real meteorologist for your exact address, not the whole country. So make better decisions with weather tailored to you. Visit weathervalet.ai. That's weathervalet.ai. Weather Valet, built for the high plains.
You're listening to the Morning Blitz.
How about sports? You follow sports?
With Ross Volkmer.
All right, we are back here on a Wednesday on the Morning Blitz. We will be talking a little bit of college football top 25, but we are pleased to welcome to the show our good friend Nick Athen from Chiefs Blitz, who joins us now. Good morning, sir. What a shirt! Is that a Kansas City Kings t-shirt? Wow.
You bet it is.
That's some snazzy stuff.
Yes.
I don't know the last time I saw a KC Kings shirt.
The NBA will be back in Kansas City.
Dropping some knowledge there, are we? Insider information, are we there, Nick?
Yes, the Portland franchise will eventually come to Kansas City and NBA will return. That's my prediction.
Will they be? They can't be the Kings, can they?
I like Kansas City Trailblazers. That sounds pretty good to me.
I guess that would work. I guess that could work a little bit.
Absolutely. So how you guys doing? You ready for football?
Oh, I cannot wait for Carolina Cardinals here coming up on Thursday. Let me tell you, I am so ready to watch Carson Beck, watch all this stuff. I mean, it's coming up whether we're ready or not. Here comes the football season. I guess I am ready because it's the dog days of summer in the radio world, and so finding stuff to talk about is challenging at times.
That's why you have me on today.
Hell,
I need something else to watch outside of my Mariners because they're awful. So.
Oh, don't get me started on baseball. It's just enjoy the next 2 months because there will be no baseball in 2027.
Now that I can agree with. That I can absolutely agree with. There will be nothing. You think the dog days of summer are hard this year? Next year could be brutal.
There's no baseball next year. None. The owners are going to break the union once and for all.
We're going to have to talk about the Japanese league or the Korean league or something like that during this time.
Canadian baseball league.
Yeah.
The Mexican league's pretty good, though.
The Mexican league. There we go.
That.
The Mexican league. Find your favorite.
Yeah, college baseball next year is going to have an opportunity to become the baseball center point. They should expand the College World Series to like 16 teams to let it run out through
just
training camp.
A 1 year deal. A 1 year deal. We're going to have 16 teams in the college baseball. That'd be fascinating. Fascinating for sure. Nick Athen, our guest from Chiefs Blitz. Nick, camp is underway. Been following. There's been plenty of storylines. Mahomes, of course, is back and looking good. Of course, Eric Bieniemy had his unfortunate incident that's happened back in Virginia. But what's been the closest thing you've been following there when you've been following Chiefs camp? Take minus, of course, with Mahomes and his return from recovery. So what would be almost number 2, I guess?
Well, I think the most fascinating thing about training camp was the Cyrus Allen injury. And all of a sudden, the gloom and doom that came over the Chiefs kingdom was just incredible. Here's a, 5th-round rookie who has so much to learn. He's like the next Marvin Harrison. I don't know what he is. Chase, Otis Taylor. He's just the godsend, and he gets injured, and everybody freaks out. This wide receiver room is going to be challenging. Somebody's going to have to step up, but they're counting on this kid. He should be back by the end of the week. But I thought it was fascinating, the gloom and doom that just came over this, like a dark cloud. And I sort of contributed to it because I read an article about it. Go get a veteran, go get Diggs or somebody like that, and just cover your bases. They want Tyreek Hill, but he ain't coming back probably till October. So I think to me the defense cornerback room is, you got injuries everywhere. Fulton, Mansour, Snead. Who's going to step up? Then you look at the Eric Bieniemy situation, which is really tough. I was not a fan of bringing him back, but I warmed to it. And it's just unfortunate they have to deal with that because I think that's going to set the offense back just a little bit. So those are the 3 things.
Speaking of Cyrus Allen, when he does come back, how quickly, do you think he is earning a lot of trust? Because it seems like Mahomes, that's been his number 1 target so far here in this training camp. What have you seen from him and just kind of that trust he's building?
Yeah, that started back in OTAs and in minicamp. You could kind of see the understanding that they had. What Cyrus Allen is really good at is he understands space. So he knows what to do in the open space. He's made some terrific catches. It's surprising that he's adapted so quickly. But it's clear Rashee Rice is nowhere close to what he used to be, and we don't know what the reasons are. He still could be in the doghouse. Tyquan Thornton got the new contract. We still haven't seen quite, those magic plays. Nico Remigio has played pretty good. Not a guy I thought was going to make the roster, so he may make it out of default. And of course, with Allen, though, he's the new Rashee Rice. So if he can step up and take those catches, and Xavier Worthy dealing with the injury, he could be a special player for this offense.
Nick Athen, is our guest here, joining us on the Morning Blitz, joining us via the Hurl Chevrolet GMC video stream. Do you feel like we're going to see a transition this year, a different look? I'm talking Chiefs offensively. It has been for the longest time Patrick Mahomes, and it's his show, and he's going to be the guy that leads us to victory and has to make all the winning plays. Is it going to look more, I guess for the lack of a better term, old school, where we're going to line up and run the football at you with the guys that we've invested in the backfield, including Kenneth Walker, and pound the ball at you, and then make plays in the passing game when we have to? Do you feel like we're going to see a bit of and with Bieniemy and his kind of philosophy of running the football a bit more? I mean, is this something we're going to see this year, you think?
Yeah, because I think they're going to carry 4 running backs this year. I look at the history of the Chiefs, and I look at Andy Reid and the way he ran the ball with like Jamal Charles, and I always go back to the AFC Championship game against the Tennessee Titans in the second half. And Kansas City came out and ran like 10 of 11 plays and just smoked it down the field. And I kind of think that we're getting back to that offense. And I think they're going to have to do it by default. And again, we talked about the wide receivers. We don't know what they have, what they don't have at this point, who's going to be healthy. But when you look at the running game, you look at the running backs the Chiefs have, Kenneth Walker looks like clearly the real deal. Even in practice, you can see his patience at the line of scrimmage and the way he moves. They've thrown him the ball in wheel routes. They're including him in all aspects of the offense. Emmett Johnson from Nebraska, who I think has got a really good chance to have an impact, probably mid-year. Brashard Smith, still one of my favorite players on this roster. He can do so many things. So I think you're going to see, run twice, maybe run 3 times, play action, ease Patrick Mahomes back into the offense. But they have to run the football. They didn't pay Kenneth Walker all that money for him to just be a decoy. So I think the offense is going to change, and I think it's going to be for the better.
Who do you think will be that running back number 2 per se? Because I think that's kind of a question I have for there's 3 guys that you could really put there. You mentioned Brashard Smith and Emmett Johnson, but they signed Emery DeMarcado as well. So there's an opportunity for a lot of guys to be RB2.
I don't know. DeMarcado, I wasn't quite sure why they signed him, based on the fact that they had Walker already. He's made some really good plays in his history, and he's known to break away. And of course, the bonehead play in Arizona that got him basically kicked off the roster. But I don't want to sacrifice Emmett Johnson. I don't want to sacrifice Brashard Smith for a guy who's basically a 1-year guy. Those other guys have a chance to be more long-term. But that's why I think they're going to keep 4 running backs. And I think it's important that you rotate and find out who that guy is. But right now, to me, Emmett Johnson looks like the number 2 at this point, just what I've seen so far in limited clips.
Nick Atherton, our guest here from Chiefs Blitz. The offensive line, I think, is always a key talking point because you want to keep 15 standing upright and healthy. How is that situation looking? I think every year it's kind of a mixed bag going into it, and then you kind of figure it out as you go. Where does this? What do you think about this offensive line as they sit right now in training camp?
Well, I mean, I think the biggest surprise is Khalil Benson has climbed over Jalen Moore to be the starter at right tackle. He's taken every number one. Started number 1 with the I think Josh Simmons just looks like a man possessed. For a guy who's technically undersized for a left tackle, he's a stone wall. So I think then you look at the interior of the line. I think the interior line is just fine. I think this offensive line is going to be one of the best that Andy Reid has had if they stay healthy, which is a big if. John Taylor's gone, so Khalil Bay, undrafted from Indiana, has stepped up, and he's played terrific. And so I think that he had a couple of early days, not so good. Yesterday, he had a great practice. I'm excited about this offensive line. I think this goes back to you got 5 maulers now, guys who can set the pace for running the ball and protecting the quarterback. But to me, the biggest surprise in this offensive line is that Josh Simmons has developed already into an absolute warrior. And whatever happened last year with the family situation and what leaving the team and all that madness, he's certainly come back with a vengeance. And he stayed in Kansas City, I think, all off season to work out and rehab from his injury and surgery. So he's got all pro stuff right now.
I have to ask about Patrick Mahomes and kind of his recovery and everything that's happened throughout this early camp. What has really jumped out to you most about just all of the kind of the storylines of Patrick Mahomes?
Well, Ross and I talked about this months ago, and there's no doubt Patrick was coming back. And there's no doubt he was going to be the starter. And there's no doubt he's going to be there on opening day. I mean, he's just built differently. And I go back to the story I was told 3 days after surgery. He was already bending the knee at a 45 to 55% angle. I mean, think about that. If that was you or me, we wouldn't move the leg for weeks. Rehab? Are you kidding me? Not a chance in hell. So what was fascinating about it was, again, he stayed in Kansas City all the time. When he went home to Dallas, the trainer went with him. There was a story that came out during the World Cup where he's watching Argentina, but 2 hours earlier, he's downstairs, working out and rehabbing. So his commitment to making sure that the Chiefs never miss the playoffs again and that he shows his teammates what hard work really means. And I think that's the one thing you have to overlook. I don't want to hear about injuries from anybody. Suck it up. If this guy can have double ligament surgery day after the injury and be full capabilities, all the arsenal, do everything already, and we're talking, August 5th? I mean, Kansas City just embrace the fact that you have one of the greatest players of all time who's going to start and finish his career in Kansas City. And Patrick Mahomes is so special and so gifted, we can't take him for granted. But he's going to come out lights on fire this year. If he opens the season against Denver and he smokes them for like 30-plus points, that's going to be the most satisfying. He'll remember this a decade from now. Be the most satisfying win of his career beyond the Super Bowl for what he's had to endure. And we haven't seen the behind the scenes. We haven't seen the pain and the frustration and the anger and the angst and the pain and the sweat. I'm a 50-year guy. I went 50 years between Super Bowls, and I tell everybody, well, Patrick Mahomes is done. He's like the only guy in the national media that's backing him right now because everybody feels that same way is Stephen A. Smith. And I'm not a huge Stephen A. Smith guy, but I'm telling you right now, Mahomes will go down as the greatest quarterback in NFL history, Tom Brady, and that's pretty big company.
Nick Athen, our guest, Chiefs Blitz. Mike, final question for you is on the defensive side. What do you think of the secondary, and what have been the early returns on them? Because I feel like there's a lot of new in the secondary this year.
Yeah, Mansard, to me, they're kind of careful with his shoulder injury, though he's still listed as number one. Christian Fulton was having a great camp until yesterday. He got injured. I don't think it's too serious. Will Williams is a star right now. He can do no wrong. I mean, he's picking off Patrick Mahomes. He's aggressive. He's clearly going to be the starter. And with Jerry Sneed, they're bringing him along slow with the knee. So I think that's cornerbacks are a little concerning, but it's early. I think at the safety position, the kid from Baltimore, his name is escaping me. I'm sorry. And I think he's going to be really good, but somebody else has got to step up. Is it going to be Tamari Connor? Is he going to play safety? Is he going to play corner? So I think the secondary has more speed. It definitely has more physicality. But until they're all healthy, this is going to be up until opening day that we're going to be curious about the secondary.
Once again, he is Nick Athen of ChiefsBlitz.com. Nick, it's always great to catch up, my friend. We'll do it again real soon since football season.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
See you, bud. Once again, Nick Athen joining us on from ChiefsBlitz.com. Great stuff from him. We'll take our final break. Come back. Thoughts on the top 25 coaches poll that came out yesterday for college football. Next on the Blitz.
Need a porta potty or septic pumping in Northwest Kansas? Call Topside Portables and Pumping, your local family-owned crew. They've got clean, reliable toilets for weddings, farms, and job sites, plus full septic services, RV waste, fertilizer tanks, and more. Available 24/7, because when nature calls, they answer. Call 785-728-8089. That's 728-8089. Topside Portables and Pumping. Reliable, local, clean.
From drive-through banking to mobile deposit, we make it easy to get things done on your schedule. Banking should fit your life, not the other way around. This is Jessica Von Lintel at F&B Bank. Banking made simple.
In a small town, your banker should know more than just your account number. They should know your name. At F&B Bank, we believe in real conversations, friendly faces, and decisions made right here at home. I'm Paige Sneathen, Vice President at F&B Bank, and we're proud to serve your family like our own. Member FDIC.
Where do the best memories happen? Not in the living room. They happen out back. Build the perfect backyard with patio furniture, fire pits, grills, and smokers from Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware. Then tackle that fence, new roof, or weekend building project with the quality lumber and materials you trust. Keep the grass green and work easy with Ultimate All-Season Lawn Fertilizer and Ego Cordless Power Outdoor Equipment. This summer, don't just stay home, make home the place everyone wants to be. With the help of Hoover Lumber Ace Hardware with locations in Goodland and Colby.
If you're shopping for a banking institution, visit with Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, and Quinter, Kansas. The Equity Bank is heavily invested in local business and activities contributing in many ways back to their community. Their employees are involved with many organizations and area events. Plus, a lot of experience comes with that staff. You'll find valuable local assistance when you bank at the Equity Bank of Hoxie, Grinnell, Quinter, and other locations in western Kansas. The Equity Bank, member FDIC.
Summer's made for road trips, lake weekends, and getting out of town, and Hurl Chevrolet GMC has the ride to get you there. Drive a new 26 GMC Terrain with $1,750 in total customer cash when you finance with GM Financial. Or take home a 26 GMC Sierra 1500 Elevation with $7,000 in purchase allowances with eligible trade-in or 1.9% for 60 months. Plus, save $1,000 in a 26 Sierra 2500. Adventure starts at Hurl Chevrolet GMC in Goodland. Online at hurlchev.com. GMC, professional grade.
You're tuned in to the Morning Blitz.
Great call. Love where your head's at.
With Ross Volkmer.
All right, coming up on the end of a show here on a Wednesday. Thanks again to Nick Athen. Thanks to you for chiming in throughout the program when Nick was going on his Patrick Mahomes rant. Of course, listener Michael texting with a bunch of laughing my you-know-what off emojis. It's so great when Nick comes on to talk to our people out here because got a lot of Broncos fans that could care less, but that'll be fascinating to see. But I'm with Nick 100%. I said it when he got her. I was like, he'll be back week 1. There's no way. He won't miss it. He will prove it. Out to be in the right spot. So wrapping up the show with some thoughts on college football yesterday. The college football preseason coaches poll comes out. Your top 10 includes Ohio State, Oregon, 1-2, followed by Georgia, Texas, and 3-4. Notre Dame, Indiana, 5-6. And then Miami, Texas A&M, Oklahoma, Ole Miss round out the top 10. The first Big 12 team coming there at number 12 in Texas Tech. BYU is at 15. But that, and then Houston, then 21 is Utah, and 24 would be Houston with the preseason top 25. Any thoughts on the preseason top 25 coaches poll? Which I think is always funny because the coaches don't do this. They tell their assistants, put some votes out there.
Well, I mean, you got the coaches poll basically crowning Ohio State and Oregon here as early favorites. 1 and 2. They had a lot of first place votes too. I don't know. It just kind of feels like the coaches might think the Big Ten is going to run the college sport season again. With these two teams at the top. Of course, Indiana sitting there at 6. I think that kind of shows that coaches don't think that this was a fluke from their last season. Now, they are not top 5. Notre Dame in the top 5, which kind of shows that they're already in the college football playoff with the way their schedule looks. But yeah, I don't think it was the most respect for the defending champs, but I still believe that coaches think, Indiana will be here for a while with Kurt Cignetti, just right behind Texas and Notre Dame. You see a couple of Big 12 teams in there. I like all the Big 12 schools that made it with the 4 that did. So, yeah, I'm not hating on this top 25 whatsoever.
I'm just counting. I believe there's 9 Big Ten and 9 SEC. Am I wrong on that? I want to make sure here. 1, 2, 3. No, I got to go through my brain because, they've changed conferences. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, there's 8 Big Ten teams, and I think there's 9 from the SEC. Am I wrong on that? 1, Missouri would be 1. Alabama, LSU, and then there's those 3. I think they both have 8. So, yeah, I mean, here's my thought before we get to the walk-off. This is always my thought on preseason polls. I think they're dumb. And I think we need to be away from them, not have them. And I know in our industry, they're meant for us to talk about and debate. But the problem is, with preseason polls, doesn't matter if it's coaches poll or the AP Top 25, you set a benchmark before there's ever been games played, and doing it in an era when things change in the offseason so drastically. Why in the world do you put out a poll and you have no idea how good these teams are? You have no idea. You have no clue. I mean, you put... Like it used to be, and it's gotten a little bit better here. But, I mean, if you're an ACC or a Big 12 fan, you're behind the 8 ball as an ACC or a Big 12 team. You only have a handful. You only have, maybe 2 or 3 teams in the top 25 if you're from the ACC and the Big 12, which that already says to people that don't follow the game, well, they're not very, there's only that many teams in the top 5, so that league's not very good. And if those teams beat up on each other and they think, then they're not really that talented. They're not really that good. And then you have all these Big Ten and SEC teams in the top 25, and they're up there already, even though they haven't earned anything this season. They've not earned a thing. We have no idea if Michigan's going to be any good. We have no idea if Penn State's going to be any good. We have no idea if Georgia is going to be great this year. We assume they're going to be great, but we don't know it for a fact. And these rankings, no matter what you say, help set the foundation for the season and for the rankings to come. Because if you're a team outside the top 25, and let's say you're in the Big 12, let's say you're Kansas State, and you win a lot of your games, you know how hard it is going to be able to climb up this top 25 because of who you are and where you started the preseason? Hard, because you're already outside the top 25 and you're in the Big 12. But you could possibly climb up there, but it's going to take a lot to get there. It's a heck of a lot easier for Ohio State, Oregon to lose a game or even 2 and still stick in the top 25 even higher than a Kansas State team that tries to go on a run here, as an example.
So what would your change be? Like not start until like week 6?
We are not going to do any polls until after, at minimum, the preseason, week 3 or week 4.
Yeah.
No polls. Let's watch the games and let's see. Because maybe K-State goes out there, K-State as an example, goes out there and runs over the first 3 teams they play and just pounds them into the dirt. And you can watch that and be like, God, that team's good. That team's good. And you know what? You might see drastic changes week to week. Because the next week, K-State might play Texas Tech, and it might be a tough game, and they might lose by 2 touchdowns. Like, well, I don't know. They're not that great. We're going to drop them down. But by setting a floor or an example of where you are, it sets things up to be more difficult for other teams to get in. And it makes it, in some cases, hard for other teams to drop out. If you're going to drop out, if you're Georgia or Texas, you got to lose like 3 games, 4 games to get out of the top 25 because you started there.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I don't know. I feel like it just sets precedent, and we don't need that.
I've been on that train too. I've been on that train too for a little while. Should just get rid of those because of the SEC gets so much, especially in the past, where you're getting 10 teams and then it's deemed as a really tough conference when some of these teams that are 23 to 25 really aren't even that good.
Yes, I would agree. So let's just wait and see. Give us 3 weeks. And I know it's harder because some teams play more difficult non-cons than others. I get it. Give us 3, 4, 5 weeks. Then let's see. Let's see what it looks like. And guess what? It may change a lot over the course of the time. So anyway, let's get to the walk-off.
High drive, deep left, grand slam!
And back lifts his ball high and deep to right. How about a walk-off Gray? Thomas to the 10. Denver's going on to New England. They win it on the first play of overtime. Mahomes flings it. It's there! Hardman! Jackpot! Kansas City!
You brought this up to me yesterday after the show. Mickey Moniak gets a new contract yesterday, a 2-year contract extension. I mean, talk about a guy just kind of who was lost, number 1 overall pick, went to the Angels, was completely lost in their system, comes someplace else, and guess what? Is making money that he probably didn't think he was going to make at some point in time. He probably just thought he'd get his one-time rookie draft time deal, and that was it. He probably thought that at some point in time, but he's turned it into something else with the Rockies. That's a good story for Mickey Moniak.
Yep, I love those types of stories. And he could definitely see the talent when he was coming up. It just never really translated to the bigs, maybe a couple flashes here and there, but this is awesome to see, especially in a Rockies uniform, and good for the Rockies for giving him a chance.
Yep. Rockies, by the way, lose 9-7 last night in 11 innings. They will play that series finale this afternoon against the Rays, looking to avoid a sweep. Royals Game 2 against the Twins tonight, 6:40 Mountain Time. 6:40 Central Time on AM 790 KXXX. All right, that'll do it for the show today. For Garrett Wellbrock, I'm Ross Volkmer. See you back here tomorrow on the Morning Blitz. Have a good one.